Hi, I'm Levy Rozman from New York, and I'd like to discuss the intricacies of topic 3, water insecurity and how big business can create shared value. We are all aware of water insecurity, but to me there is no way to generalize it all under one umbrella. We must look at it through the lens of developed nations and developing nations. Let's start with developing nations, where water has literally begun to run out. The Financial Times lens on Minchin shows one such example where an entire region of land has gone completely arid. People have access to 1 hour of water every 5 days. Now, if availability is not the problem, then waste management will be one. For example, take India, the region of Delhi, where 90% of homes are said to have adequate sanitation, but wastewater is discharged into the Yamuna River, which then goes downstream and becomes a water source for other cities down the same waterway. Now, water availability and waste management are also problems that are seen in developed nations. But the funny thing is that scarcity will only become a problem in developed nations because of massive overuse. In fact, the average US family uses 400 gallons of water every single day. And developed nations have their own problems with tap water toxicity. To quote Giulio Boccaletti, physicist currently working at the Nature Conservancy, quote, "Thousands of soluble chemical compounds are making their way into water bodies in trace concentrations, such as personal care products, detergents, pesticides, various hydrocarbons." You get the point. Thus, I would say that the global mission of tackling water insecurity has to be dual-pronged. We have to keep an equal focus on a sustainable usage of water, as well as making it accessible worldwide. How can we do this? Let's analyze Mikhail Gorbachev's take on the unity of water. He mentions that the only explanation of the half-century wait for cross-border water regulation is a lack of political leadership. Now, this makes a lot of sense. Governments tend to have a very slow institutional velocity, specifically on an international stage, and especially when it comes to such a confusing cross-border resource like water. But at the same time, since governments are struggling to get full regulation on water, economic non-state actors, specifically multinational corporations, have stepped to the forefront and have made water a marketable commodity. So this brings us to part 2 of our question. Big business and how it can create shared value. So we've already looked at a few notions of water insecurity. Now I want to take a look at the actions and intentions of big business. Let's put Nestle under our microscope. Why Nestle? Well, I figured that since it controls 70 of the world's global bottled water brands and has emerged as arguably the most polarizing figure in the market of water, that it would be a pretty good choice. The company is under heavy scrutiny for numerous things, the biggest of which being its CEO, Peter Brabeck, supposedly declaring water, quote, not a human right. Now, despite a lot of its bad publicity, where Nestle does create a lot of benefits, is in shared value. I would say that Nestle has a market penetration approach. As a company, it finds demand in third world countries for fresh water and comes in as a quasi-savior. For example, Pakistan was Nestle's test market for its Pure Life bottle label. Pure Life, perhaps not surprisingly, is a form of purified groundwater enriched with certain minerals. By circulating such a product throughout developing nations, Nestle creates a mutually dependent and beneficial relationship with its customers. In other words, shared value. I want to look above and beyond, however. I want to look past shared value in this fashion, because to me, capitalism cannot be the main tool for tackling water insecurity on a global scale. If over 98% of the world's water is undrinkable, why can't big business, with its edge in earnings and institutional velocity, invest in research and development? In my eyes, this is both a moral win and an economic win. If Nestle finds a way to make the desalinization process of salt water economically feasible, let alone profitable, the entire human race will benefit. Now, if we are on pace to have 2 billion people water deficient by 2025, the profit-driven strategy of market penetration is second-rate compared to innovative technological breakthroughs. So let's summarize. Obviously, water is scarce. For those of us who are lucky enough to be living in developed nations, we need to start fixing the problems we have created for ourselves. Conservation and waste management are key. Because things in developing nations are less black and white. But one thing is for sure. Economic non-state actors like Nestle need to start reconciling the desire for profit with the need for global change, because shared value can only get us so far. Now is the time for research, development, and situational leadership by big business. What is the point, you ask? Well, when all of our trees are cut down, our air is unsafe to breathe, and our waterways are absolutely unusable, only then will we realize that we cannot eat money. Thank you for your time.